Proxy wars. Imagine two superpowers like the USA and USSR too scared to fight directly, so they use other countries as their punching bags. That's a proxy war. These wars are brutal for the countries involved, but a way for superpowers to battle indirectly. Think of it as the USA and USSR using smaller countries to settle their score, with devastating consequences for the pawns caught in the middle. Drug war. Conflict between government authorities and drug cartels or criminal organizations involved in illegal drug production, trafficking, and distribution, often characterized by violence, corruption, and social unrest. Example is the war against Pablo Escobar, who is sadly a role model to most of you. Civil war. This is the ultimate family feud, a war between citizens of the same country. It's often caused by deep divisions over ideology, religion, or ethnicity. Imagine Captain America versus Iron Man, but for entire nations. Brutally personal and devastating civil wars leave deep scars on societies. Economic warfare. Imagine a bloodless battle fought with tariffs, sanctions, and currency manipulation. That's economic warfare. Countries use these tools to damage their opponent's economy, weakening their military and industrial capacity. For instance, the ongoing trade war between the USA and China is an example of economic warfare. Cold War. Imagine a global fight where everyone's armed to the teeth but nobody throws a punch. That's the Cold War. Superpowers like the USA and USSR faced off in a tense competition for influence, using propaganda, espionage, and military buildups to prove they were the strongest, without ever really going to war. The Cuban Missile Crisis and the arms race are notable events of this era. Note the difference between proxy and Cold Wars. Nuclear war. Nuclear warfare involves the use of nuclear weapons such as atomic bombs or hydrogen bombs to inflict mass destruction and casualties on enemy targets. The devastating power of nuclear weapons makes the prospect of nuclear war a grave threat to global security and stability. The bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki during World War II remain the only instances of nuclear weapons being used in warfare. Colonial wars. Ever wondered how empires were built? Often through brutal conquest. Colonial wars are powerful countries invading and occupying weaker ones to grab land and resources. Think of Europeans colonizing Africa or Asia, facing fierce resistance from the locals. These wars were about domination and had a massive impact on the world we live in today. Cyber warfare. Cyber warfare involves the use of computer technology to disrupt, sabotage, or infiltrate the networks and systems of adversaries. These attacks target critical infrastructure, military assets, and government institutions with the potential to cause widespread damage and chaos. Examples include state-sponsored hacking operations. Guerrilla war. Think David versus Goliath, but with more explosions. Guerrilla warfare is when a smaller, less powerful force uses surprise attacks, ambushes, and sabotage to harass a larger, more conventional army. World war. Large-scale conflicts involving multiple countries and continents with vast mobilization of military forces and resources, often resulting in significant geopolitical, social, and economic consequences. Often, the World War will contain many other wars within itself, such as economic war. Example is World War II from 1939 to 1945. Religious war. Conflict motivated by religious differences, beliefs, or ideologies, often resulting in sectarian violence, persecution, and attempts to impose religious authority or dominance. Terror war. Use of violence and intimidation against civilians or governments to achieve political, religious, or ideological objectives, often carried out by non-state actors or extremist groups such as Afghan Taliban and Al-Shabaab.